before the first temple stone was cut, before the first priest learned the first prayer, before any human hand carved an eye into any wall, the eye already existed. It lived in the sun. It watched from the light. And when the sun looked down on creation, the eye looked with it, not as a picture, not as an idea, as a presence, a gaze so bright it could bless a field into life, or scorch a kingdom into silence. The ancient Egyptians did not believe the sun was only fire. They believed it was a will, and the eye was that will, unleashed. You already know what happens when the eye becomes fury. You have seen it in the form of Sekhmet, the lioness of the sun, the destroyer, the one who nearly erased humanity. But here is the secret. The myth hides in plain sight. Sekhmet is not the beginning of the eye. She is what the eye becomes when something in the world has gone too far. Because in the oldest telling, the eye first wears a gentler face, a face of beauty, music, joy, a goddess whose laughter could fill a temple. Her name was Hathor. Hathor is the warmth of the morning sun, the sun that kisses the river and turns it into gold, the sun that wakes the palm trees, the sun that makes the world feel safe. They pictured her with cow horns cradling a sun disk like a crown, soft power, radiant and calm. But the Egyptians never trusted softness to mean weakness. They understood something modern minds often forget. What gives life can also take it. And in the rebellion myth, when humanity turns its face away from the gods, Ra does not send a stranger. He sends the eye. And the eye goes first as Hathor. At first, it is punishment, a correction, a warning. The world has leaned toward chaos, and something must push it back. But punishment has a hunger. And the eye is not a human judge with human limits. It is solar power given a body. It does not argue. It does not hesitate. It acts. And as Hathor moves through the land, something awakens beneath the beauty. A heat rising. A sweetness turning sharp. The warmth of dawn rising into the ruthless blaze of noon. And then, the transformation. Hathor's joy becomes a different kind of joy. A joy in the hunt. A joy in the chase. A joy in the scream that follows the roar. Her face changes. The horns and soft grace fall away. And the lioness appears. Sekhmet. This is the moment the myth is really trying to show you. Not a plot twist. A law. The eye has no single face. It is the sun answering the world. When the world is safe, the eye can be gentle. When the world is threatened, the eye becomes a weapon. Hathor is the eye when the sun is blessing. Sekhmet is the eye when the sun is judging. The same fire, only hotter. And Sekhmet is not merely angry. She is inevitable. A lioness does not debate. A lioness does not tire. She becomes still. And then she moves, silent, patient, unstoppable. The Egyptians knew the lioness as one of the most dangerous beings of their world, a predator made of discipline. And they recognized that discipline in Sekhmet. She is the sun's wrath with claws, the heat that dries the throat, the glare that blinds, the storm of sand that turns roads into nothing, divine vengeance made flesh. And once she begins, she does not easily stop. Not even the gods can simply command the eye back into calm. In episode 1, you saw what it took. Deception, ritual, red beer poured across the land like blood. Because when Sekhmet awakens, she becomes too much sun, too much fire. But Egypt does not end the story there. Because the eye does not exist only to destroy, the eye also exists to guard, to watch, to keep the world from tipping over the edge. And this is where the myth reveals its second secret. The eye can become smaller without becoming weaker. It can slip into the shadows. It can guard the home. It can stand at the door of the night. And for that, the eye wears a different face, the face of Bastet. Bastet is not the blaze of noon. Bastet is the heat that remains in the stones after sunset, a watchful warmth, a living protection. In Egyptian homes, when lamps flicker and children sleep, the world does not become safe. It becomes uncertain. The darkness is full of things that do not announce themselves. So the eye becomes a hunter of a different kind, not a hunter of humans. A hunter of what comes for humans. This is Bastet. Silent pause, unblinking gaze, a presence in the shadows that notices what you never saw. The cat that sleeps by the fire is the same creature that wakes without sound, gentle, until the moment gentleness fails, because protection, when truly needed, is never soft. It is fury, waiting for permission. And in the oldest days, before the cat, there was the lioness. Bastet wore that face too. The eye never loses its claws. It only chooses when to show them. Now you can see the three faces clearly, without anyone needing to explain it like a lesson. Hathor, the sun that blesses. Sekhmet, the sun that judges. Bastet, the sun that guards. Joy, wrath, protection, not three unrelated goddesses. One solar power moving through different masks. One gaze changing its expression because the world changes and the eye answers. But what is the eye answering? What is it protecting? The ancient Egyptians had a name for the balance that keeps creation from collapsing. They called it Ma'at, and they did not picture Ma'at as an abstract idea. They pictured her as a woman, and on her head, a single feather, not heavy, perfect. Because balance is not force, balance is precision, a thin line, a breath, a feather's weight. When a soul died, the Egyptians believed the heart was weighed against that feather. If the heart was heavy, if it sank, something waited, something hungry, a devourer for hearts that fell. But if the heart was light, true, aligned with Ma'at, it balanced, and the soul passed into eternal life. That feather was the world's condition. That precision was what kept chaos from swallowing everything, and the Eye of Ra existed to protect that feather's balance, not only against enemies, against rebellion, against arrogance, against the moment the world forgets the gods and begins to lean into chaos. This is why the eye appears everywhere in Egypt, not as decoration, as warning, as protection, as promise. It was carved into temples because temples were places where order was defended. It was painted on coffins because death was a doorway chaos could enter. It was worn on the body because illness, envy, and unseen harm were also forms of disorder. The eye meant the gods see, the gods watch, and if the world tips too far, the eye will open. And now we return to the darkest truth hidden inside Sekhmet's myth. The eye is necessary, but it is also dangerous, because the same power that preserves Ma'at can become so fierce it threatens life itself. In the Rampage myth, the eye is unleashed to protect the divine order, and it nearly destroys the humans the gods once created. The sun that makes crops grow is the same sun that burns them. The heat that heals can also infect. The force that protects can also devour. To the Egyptians, divine power was not good. It was not evil. It was vast, necessary. and if you did not respect it, it could become too much. So the secret of the Eye of Ra is not that it is a symbol. The secret is that it is alive, a cosmic response, a gaze that can take form, a force that wears goddesses. And those goddesses are not random. They are solar states. Hathor, the warmth of the sun. Sekhmet, the blaze of the sun. Bastet, the watchfulness of the sun. 3 faces, 1 fire, 1 eye. And now we reach the question that should make your skin prickle. If Sekhmet is the eye when it becomes wrath, the plague bringer, the destroyer, the force that nearly ended humanity, then why did the Egyptians pray to her? Why did they build temples for her? Why did they carve her statues by the hundreds and place them in sacred halls? Why did her priests become physicians? Why would anyone call on the lioness of destruction for healing? Because in Egypt, the same power that sends the sickness is the power that can remove it. And in the next episode, we enter the paradox at the heart of Sekhmet, the goddess of plague and the goddess of cure.